have ever actually hugged a redwood tree? I hear tell there's a bunch of tree huggers gathered in the woods of Veneta today. How many of you have ever hugged a tree? Any tree? Have you ever hugged a tree? Yeah.
Do you want to do a quick
Well, I live out in the forest.
Amor mío, por favor, tú no se vas. Yo conquería las horas que nadie hoy. Amor mío, por favor, tú no se vas. Yo conquería las horas que nadie hoy. No volveré, no volveré, no volveré, no volveré, no volveré, no volveré, no volveré. No quiere decorar, no quiere decorar. No volveré, no volveré, no volveré, no volveré, no volveré, no volveré, no volveré. No quiere decorar, no quiere decorar.
And right up above that river are a bunch of big clear cuts. And after they clear cut trees out there in the forest, Guess what happens next? They actually fly in with helicopters and spray pesticides from the sky. Poison from the sky. Up above where children play. Hey, did you know that there is no legal buffer zone at all? Those pesticide helicopters can and do spray right next to homes. They can come right up to your property line and be in the sky spraying pesticide next to your home. It happens to us. Before I go any further, I want to introduce my gorgeous, beautiful wife, Neela, and she's going to tell you about the first time she got hit by pesticide from one of these helicopters. We are what's called, has anybody here ever heard of the Pitchfork Rebellion? Raise your hand. We are the Pitchfork Rebellion, who are monitored by Homeland Security. I myself have been handcuffed and taken away by Homeland Security. I've been beaten up in jails by deputies and things of that nature, all because we decided we're mad as hell and we ain't gonna take it anymore.
Yo te vi por la calle. Yo te vi por la calle. Yo quiero no pasado. E dice nei boschi ci rincorrere. E dice lai lai lo lai lo lai lo lai. Lai la 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 lo lai lo lai lo lai.
everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Well, this is a great opportunity for all of us to take action. Don't be shy. If something's going down that isn't good for you or good for other folks, speak up about it. That's why I'm here. What's been going down is the timber industry is actually helicopter aerial spraying our forests. We only have less than 3% of our native forests here left in Oregon. And what we've got is that the industry is spraying the heck out of us, and they're poisoning us, and they're making us sick. I've been sickened many times, and I'll tell you what, it's really bad. I'm a healthy person. I'm all about health, all about yoga and organic food, all that kind of stuff. Well, I'll tell you what, when those helicopters come by and spray, your health is gone. You are sick as a dog. You can't even get up out of bed. You got a headache. Your organs are all messed up. You can't even freaking work. It's really, really bad. And it's happening to the people. It's happening to the animals. It's happening to our air, our water, our land. We got to do something about this. We got to make sure that they stop spraying chemicals in our forests. We want natural organic forest. And these industry people are just raping the forest, and they're poisoning the people, they're poisoning the air, they're making us sick. It's horrible, trust me. I had to work for months to try to get my health back after they poisoned us. And so this is really real. And we're all here having a good time now, and thank goodness it's all about nature, because nature is what healed us up after the industry poisoned us. So if you want to get healed, nature will do it for you. So just tune into nature and stay away from those chemicals. I'll tell you what, those herbicides will just wipe you out. It's really, really bad. And so we're going to try to straighten it up and get those pesticides out of the forest. Thank you for your support.
Well, 7 years ago, when we launched the Pitchfork Rebellion, after learning that some of our neighbors had to take 3 different children into Sacred Heart Hospital's emergency room after sprays, we held a demonstration out there on Highway 36, and we were going to just call that one demonstration the Pitchfork Rebellion. We brought farm animals to the demonstration. We had our pitchforks, our farm implements. We were wearing our overalls. The media covered it, put us on the front page of the Eugene Weekly, and so we became permanently the Pitchfork Rebellion. What I want to share with you right now, in my remaining minutes, is what we've discovered in this 7-year experience that not everybody would know yet. We know it because we've been directly interfacing with this problem, looking for the solution. Because how many of you remember John Lennon's lyric, "There are no problems, only what? Solutions." Well, we gathered up about 50 people who said that they'd been negatively impacted by sprays, and we began going to the various government agencies who are supposed to legally protect people from pesticide exposures and protect the forest. What we found was that those agencies had been, and still are today, completely co-opted by Monsanto, Dow Chemical, and DuPont, and some of the other pesticide makers. Let me give you one shocking example. Who can tell us the name of the head of the EPA for the Pacific Northwest? You see, the Environmental Protection Agency has a regional headquarters in Seattle, and it covers Oregon. Does anybody know the name of that person? Well, up until recently, they just had a change. Up until recently, it was Elin Miller, a CEO of a pesticide company. She's a former board member of Dow Chemical. That is your head, or has been just up until recently, the head of the Environmental Protection Agency for Oregon and Washington. A Dow Chemical board of director member. Does that sound right to you? Do you want pesticide company CEOs in charge of protecting Oregon's environment? No! Well, brothers and sisters, either do we. But when we started noticing that the government agencies in charge of things like the Oregon Department of Forestry and Fish and Wildlife, the EPA, had been co-opted by Monsanto and Dow Chemical, we conducted a 3-year investigation. How many of you have seen some of the newspaper articles about that? Have you read some Pitchfork Rebellion stories? Many of those stories were about a 3-year investigation we did called the Pitchfork Investigation of the Role of Big Business over Government Agencies. In that investigation, I stumbled on a very shocking thing, and that was that an agency I would have never imagined would be any part of this is very much a part of this. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Here's how I found out. I was doing a talk like this in front of the federal building in Eugene, and my topic was about pesticide exposures and how the government hasn't been responding to us and what we've been discovering about Monsanto's involvement. I did a talk there titled "The Need to Reform Homeland Security," in which I revealed that Homeland Security has on its board a member of the board of directors of Monsanto. He is in charge of bioterrorism, but when you follow the money trail, which is what I researched, you find out millions of dollars of your money millions of dollars of taxpayer money that's going to fight, terrorism, bioterrorism, U.S. Homeland Security is then being given in no bid contracts, like the Halliburton thing, no bid contracts to Monsanto to fund their research in genetic engineered crops that they make their fortune off of, their research being funded by your tax dollars under the guise of what it's called is food security.
Y la que quiere guaira, si tú quieres desbailar, yo te agarro la mano y vamos a bailar. Guaira, te quiero, guaira, te adoro. Y vamos a bailar. Guaira, te quiero, guaira, te adoro. Sa, 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 on the conga drum set. Guaira, te quiero, guaira, te adoro. Sa, 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 sa.
So we're funding Monsanto's research through the Department of Homeland Security. Well, I mentioned that like I just did here. The very next time I spoke, 3 weeks later, after I spoke, I was handcuffed by a Homeland Security agent in Eugene after my speech. I was put in a Eugene police car in the Eugene jail. The sheriff controlled the jail. I was physically, I would call it beaten, as well as intimidated verbally in the jail, and told that they weren't letting me out, and all this kind of stuff was going down. Well, after I got out, it became, for a while, a front page news story. The Register Guard did an editorial on it, and we got lots of media coverage. How many of you, if you were asked the question, do you see the cup half full, or do you see the cup half empty? How many of you usually would see the cup as half full? In other words, are you a positive thinking person? If you're a positive thinking person, I'll tell you, getting arrested by Homeland Security was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me, because all of a sudden the story became a national story. Yeah. Right now, our biggest recent news, and this would be the recent news articles, after 7 years of not getting any government agency to be willing to come out and test the people who claim to have had horrible pesticide exposures, we brought in our own scientist, the most respected scientist who used to run the laboratory for the United States government. Dr. Dana Barr was the head of the labs for CDC, the Center for for Disease and Control. She ran that lab for 20 years. Now she's a researcher on pesticides at Emory University. She came out here to Highway 36, Oregon. She tested 34 people that live along Highway 36 where the clear cutting's happening. She did that during the winter, during the non-spray season, expecting to find no pesticide in us then, and then in the spring spray season she was going to test this again to see if she then found it. She found during the winter that 100% of us, including many children, including toddlers, 100% of us that live along Highway 36 tested positive for both atrazine and 2,4-D, the two pesticides that are considered the most dangerous legal pesticides. That's why she tested for those two. We had it in us during the winter. She said that means it's stored in our body fat because we're receiving long-term chronic exposure to these pesticides, and that's what causes cancer. That's what causes a multitude of diseases, including Parkinson's, attention deficit disorder in children. Then she told us this spring, when they begin to spray from those helicopters, any of y'all who have a spray occur within a mile or so of your home, go back in within 24 hours and give us another urine sample. We did that. Our levels of atrazine and 2,4-D spiked. And we found out that Wynn Weyerhaeuser, who did the spray, had filled out their paperwork stating what they intended to spray. They had written down atrazine and 2,4-D.
Mira, mira com'è divina. Mira, mira com'è divina. Mira com'è divina. Mira, mira com'è divina. Bate, 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 bate. Quando mi piace, quando balle che cica, cica, cica. Bate, 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 bate. Quando mi piace, quando balle che cica, 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 cica. Bate, 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 bate. Quando mi piace, quando balle che cica, 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 cica. Bate, 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 bate. Quando mi piace, quando balle. Onde guida? For the luminescence, the dancers. Yo, yo. Sa, sa. Crank on the cajon. On the congas, Carlito. Mira, mira com'è divino. Mira, mira com'è divino. On the conga drum, say. Diga, diga, diga. El ritmo latino, el ritmo colombiano, el venezuelano, el ritmo cubano, el ritmo brasiliano, el ritmo argentino. Sa.
pesticides that are considered the most dangerous legal pesticides. That's why she tested for those too. We had it in us during the winter. She said that means it's stored in our body fat because we're receiving long-term chronic exposure to these pesticides, and that's what causes cancer. That's what causes a multitude of diseases, including Parkinson's, attention deficit disorder in children. Then she told us this spring, when they begin to spray from those helicopters, any of y'all who have a spray occur within a mile or so of your home, go back in within 24 hours and give us another urine sample. We did that. Our levels of atrazine and 2,4-D spiked. And we found out that Wynn Weyerhaeuser, who did the spray, had filled out their paperwork stating what they intended to spray. They had written down atrazine and 2,4-D. So that's in my urine, it's in my wife's urine, it's in everybody that lives along Highway 36, probably it's in their urine, because all 34 people who have been tested along the highway, it's in their urine. And so that brings us to the concept of the title of my talk today is Bloodstream Rights. Do you have the right to say no to pesticides in your bloodstream? Well, why wouldn't you want atrazine in your bloodstream? Did you know that atrazine turns male frogs into female frogs, who then can only give birth to male frogs, resulting in a declining frog population? Well, atrazine also causes almost anything you can name, as does the other pesticide in our all urine, the 2,4-D, because they are what's called endocrine disruptors. How many of you have ever gone to the trouble of looking up the word endocrine? Probably no. Well, several of you have. Well, then you know it really matters if something's an endocrine disruptor, because the endocrine system runs every organ in your body, and if you disrupt the endocrine system, any organ in your body can malfunction. You can get liver disease, you can get kidney disease, you can get lung disease, you can get cancer, you can get anything that can go wrong. You can get if you are ingesting endocrine system disruptors like what's in my piss. Needless to say, I'm rather pissed by this.
special, we feel honored to have my brother Fantuzzi on stage. Long time, 20 Special honor to me.
Feeling is mutual. Give it up for the master.
You know who controls everything about pesticides in Oregon and why we're getting aerial sprayed with pesticides and haven't been able to stop it? Yeah, it's actually a special wing of the Department of Agriculture called the Pesticide Division of Agriculture. Controls everything about pesticides in Oregon. They are controlled by Monsanto and Dow Chemical. They are completely under the thumb of pesticides. In fact, their mission statement, the mission statement for the Oregon agency in charge of if you get exposed to pesticides and you have to go for help to the government, that agency, their mission statement, when you bring it up on the internet, their mission statement says in it, to preserve the availability of pesticides. And that's who the state of Oregon tells you to call if you just got pesticided by one of those helicopters. You call Monsanto, basically.
Everybody put your hands up in the air and make a joyful noise.
Ipashe, oh. Ipapa, Ipaye. Ipashe, Ipapa, Ipaye. Ipashe, from West Africa, Mama Africa, Mama Africa, Mama Africa, Mama Africa. So. Yo. Chez, il va chez oh. Il va pas, il va yé. Il va chez, il va pas. Il va chez, il va pas. Il va chez, il va pas. Il va chez, il va pas.
I end by asking you for help. Right now, because the governor took interest, that most recent news article you might have seen was State of Oregon to investigate pesticide contamination, and it was about the proof we brought to the table of the residents having our urine tested. Right now, they're going to conduct that study, and there's a pretty good chance it might be bogus. It's being run by the pesticide division of the Department of Agriculture as the overseer. We've got some friends in public health involved and some friends in DEQ involved. But you know what? Right now, this coming week, a group is meeting with the people who are to do that study, and that group that's meeting with them is called Oregonians for Food and Shelter. How many of you have heard of Oregonians for Food and Shelter? They consist of Dow Chemical, Monsanto, DuPont, a German multinational pesticide corporation called BASF. That is who Oregonians for Food and Shelter really are. And right now, they're getting to have the first meeting with the state of Oregon scientists that are supposedly investigating the urine samples of us. Instead, they're beginning by meeting with the pesticide makers.
Hey, how'd you find that out?
We are getting emails from our friends in DEQ, and they've told us. So, I end by asking you this. Continue to follow the story, and if they try to pull a fast one here, and they don't really do a legitimate study, you're going to see the Pitchfork Rebellion back on the street where we began, with picket signs like we began with, and we're going to circle their building, and we're not going to go away until a real study happens by the state of Oregon. Will you help? Let's end by holding that vision of a beautiful forest, beautiful bubbling waters, a place where the elves in the Lord of the Rings would be happy to play. Do you want that kind of forest for Oregon? Let's envision that kind of forest for Oregon. Blessings, thank you.
yo pierdo la razón. No diga nada. Solos, solos dos. Y ya veo en quella noche e por la calle lo mismo será. Y tú quieres devolver, yo no te veo más. Tú quieres devolver, yo no te siento nada. Y tú quieres devolver, yo no te veo más. Tú quieres. Yo no te siento nada. Gracias. Friends together for the luminescence. Thank you for beautifying our look and stage and sound. Stop, stop, stop.
De mi corazón yo traigo una canción, mi hermanito. De mi corazón yo traigo una canción, mi hermanito. Para mi gente, para el mundo enterocito. Para mi gente, y para mi gente, y para el mundo enterocito. ¡Alegría! ¡Que viva la música! ¡Let me hear you! ¡Que viva! ¡Eso! ¡Cómetela, chicos!
Desaparecí, fantasma que nunca yo estoy. Volando vengo, volando voy. Deprisa, deprisa, rumbo perdí. Me dicen el desaparecí, fantasma que nunca yo estoy. Volando vengo, volando voy. Deprisa, deprisa, rumbo perdí. Y cuando giraré, 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 me dicen no desaparecí, fantasma que nunca yo estoy. Volando vengo, volando voy, deprisa, deprisa. Vamos a bailar y vamos a cantar y vamos a bailar con la luna llena.
La luna llena.
Y vamos a bailar y vamos a cantar y vamos a bailar con la luna llena. Y vamos a bailar,
Maestro.
y vamos a cantar y vamos a bailar con la luna llena.
Arriba, qué bueno, qué bueno, qué bueno, qué bueno está. Rucucucucha, rucucha, cha, 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 cha. Ay, mamita, te quiero. Ay, hermanito, te adoro. Ay, querido, te quiero. Tócalo, que tócalo. ¡Epa! Tócalo, que tócalo. Let me hear. Tócalo, que tócalo. A little bit louder. A little bit louder. Ay, qué rico. Un poco de tu corazón, sabrosito, un son cubano y de Puerto Rico, con el maestro Río.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is Gypsy. Glenn on the bass guitar. Greg on the cajon. My brother Fantuzzi. And the Luminescence dancers. Thank you so much.
And last but not least, Rio!